All right. Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive. Today, we're looking at something, well, pretty wild. We're talking about MicroStrategy, a company that's basically decided to go all in, like really all in, on Bitcoin.
Yeah,
You might be thinking, okay, why does this matter to me?
right.
But think about this. What if your company, the one you work for, or even, one you own, decided to bet its entire future, everything, on something as volatile and unpredictable, some might even say risky, as Bitcoin?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, that's exactly what MicroStrategy is doing.
It's really fascinating. It's a fascinating case study because it really kind of forces us to think about what money even is in a digital age. I mean, we're
Yeah.
used to companies investing in the usual things, right? Real estate, stocks, bonds, the usual suspects.
Yeah, the classics.
But Bitcoin's a whole different animal.
It really is.
Yeah.
So just how deep are we talking here? Like, how much Bitcoin does MicroStrategy actually own?
Well, hold on to your hats because the number is pretty mind-blowing. They own, get this, 423,650 Bitcoins.
Whoa, okay. Help me wrap my head around that. I mean, what does that even mean in real-world terms? Like, is that a lot?
It's a lot. Think of it this way. It's like they own a small country's GDP worth of Bitcoin.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that is a lot.
Yeah, it's a significant amount.
But they're publicly traded, right?
Yeah.
MicroStrategy. They're not like some crypto startup working out of a Silicon Valley garage somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're a publicly traded company, which is what makes this so unusual. I mean, they're massive, and it is massive. Investment in Bitcoin is literally shaping how investors view the company. And you could argue it's shaping how they view Bitcoin itself.
That's wild. And they didn't buy in at, like, the early days when Bitcoin was practically pennies, right?
Yeah.
Like, what did they pay for all of that Bitcoin?
So they spent roughly, on average, we're talking about $60,000 per Bitcoin.
Seriously, 60,000.
Yeah, around there.
I mean, it just seems like such a huge gamble. Like, Bitcoin's price is so notoriously volatile. It's up, it's down, who knows?
Oh, it absolutely is. And that's what makes MicroStrategy's move so bold, so audacious. It's a big bet. For their latest purchase alone, just the latest one, they raised, get this, $2.13 billion.
Billion.
Billion. Just for Bitcoin.
Wow. How are they even financing all of this?
So they're using a combination of things. They're selling company shares and, wait for it, taking on debt.
Wait, hold on. They went into debt to buy more Bitcoin.
They did.
That sounds incredibly risky. Like, I'm getting a little nervous just thinking about it.
Yeah, and understandably so. It is risky. It's a big bet. But to really understand why they're doing this, I think we need to look at the man behind the strategy, the mastermind, so to speak. And that's Michael Saylor. He's the CEO of MicroStrategy.
Okay, yeah. Michael Saylor. Tell me about him. What's his take on all of this?
So Michael Saylor, he's a huge Bitcoin believer. I mean, he really believes in it. He calls it a store of value and a long-term value play.
Okay, so what does that even mean? Store of value. I hear people throw that term around a lot, especially in the crypto world, but I'll be honest, I'm not always sure I fully get it.
Sure. Basically, store of value means that Bitcoin can, theoretically, hold its value over time, kind of like gold.
Oh, okay.
People who believe in Bitcoin as a store of value, they argue that it's a hedge against inflation, because traditional currencies, your dollars, your euros, they can lose value over time due to inflation, but Bitcoin supply is limited. There's only a certain amount.
Oh, okay. I see. So there's only a certain amount of Bitcoin that will ever exist, like a finite amount.
Exactly. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. That's it. And that limited supply, that scarcity, theoretically, should help it hold its value. Kind of similar to how gold has historically been seen as a safe haven asset.
So Saylor's basically saying that Bitcoin is like digital gold.
Yeah, in a nutshell, yes. That's the basic argument. And he's not just talking the talk, he's walking the walk in a big way. To put this into perspective, MicroStrategy's market cap, and market cap is basically the total value of all the company's shares, so it's a way to measure the overall size and worth of a company. Their market cap is about $95 billion.
95 billion, wow.
Right, and their Bitcoin holdings are worth roughly half of that.
Whoa. So almost half of their entire value is tied up in Bitcoin.
It's pretty incredible.
It's wild.
It's almost like, imagine a tech company, like a big one, deciding to bet half of its entire value on, I don't know, gold or oil.
That's a crazy thought. But what if the price of Bitcoin just tanks, like totally crashes?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, or maybe the billion-dollar question in this case. Yeah, if the price of Bitcoin crashes, well, MicroStrategy could be in serious trouble.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of eggs in one basket.
For sure.
And what about like the ripple effect, you know? Could
Yeah.
what MicroStrategy is doing, could that influence other companies or other big investors?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everything MicroStrategy is doing is being watched super closely by, well, everyone. If they succeed, if this bet pays off, it could totally embolden other companies to follow in their footsteps and, really jump into the Bitcoin world. But if they fail, well, it could have the opposite effect and scare off potential investors.
So we've got this company, MicroStrategy, making a huge bet, a massive gamble, some might say, on the future of Bitcoin. And they have this CEO, Michael Saylor, who seems deeply, truly convinced that Bitcoin is the new gold, digital gold. It
Yeah.
really makes you think about where finance is going, where money's going.
Isn't it? I mean, whether you agree with Saylor's strategy or think, maybe he's taking a massive risk, it really doesn't matter. The whole MicroStrategy story really forces us to ask some important questions. I mean, is this the beginning of a trend? Are we going to see more companies putting their faith and their balance sheets behind Bitcoin? Or is this just a unique case, a one-off? Is MicroStrategy an outlier? It's definitely a story worth following, that's for sure.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. All right, well, that's our deep dive for today.
Very
Just
interesting.
join us next time for more.